All right, let's we're record Shima Shaw. Okay, we're ready to go. And we were just talking about in the first episode that Bryce Gibbs, 2004, Mark Murphy, 2005, 2006 Cruiser. Carlton got three big names, three draft choices, and we haven't been able to really cement we haven't been able to get a premiership, even though we've had all these high draft choices and, big picks. And if anything, we lost Henderson, who was a top 10. We've lost Yaron, who was another high draft pick. We've lost so many draft picks in
Eddie Betts.
years.
Eddie Betts.
Eddie Betts still kills me.
Oh.
The only one was an extra 50 grand, and we decided to give to take his pay packet from 400 to 450. Instead, we give Daisy, we give him 700,000, and he was unless he does, he's a good team player, but he wasn't worth losing Eddie. And
Diesel Williams, he wanted 5,000 more. I think it was 40,000 to 45 to 50, I think it was. And he just went, I think it was Sydney. Yeah, Sydney offered him that. And he goes, just match it and we're good to go. And they're like, nah. And
Really?
1995 came to absolutely haunt us, like you said before.
Well, I'm pretty sure he was on like 200 at Carlton, and that was big money back then. That was we had Foster's Lager as our major sponsor back in the mid-'80s, and we had some. And this is the thing with Carlton. The interesting thing with Carlton is we had back in the 1967, the draft first. It was established, zoning first established. And Carlton had Bendigo, which was the prime spot for. We had Bendigo, we had Lilydale, we had a few other draft areas, which as well as Carlton itself, and an interesting one, Vinny Catoggio. He played at Princess Hill, which was the team that is right in Carlton. They played on number 1. Remember Vinny the Cat? And we also, basically, we had the pick of, it was Carlton and Hawthorn had the pick of South Australia and Western Australia. So if you were coming over, you sort of had a choice which team you wanted to play for. It was either Carlton or Carlton Hawthorn. And Platten, Johnny Platten, we mentioned him earlier in the week. Carlton gave him 20,000 as a pre-signing bonus. He took the 20,000, bought a new Holden Commodore, and then went to Hawthorn. Drove it to Hawthorn.
Far out.
Yeah.
The rat.
Yeah, but we did pick up Nayley, Motley, the Kernahan, Bradley.
Is this Vinny?
That's Vinny.
It's Vinny. Yeah, Vinny. If you look
after plastic surgery.
Yeah, if you look on YouTube, you'll see Vinny Catoggio, 1978, when Lygon Street Festivals first started. That started 1978. He's actually doing a handball competition where Carlton supplied a football for kids to do competition. So he was a good guy, and really nice guy. He was a local lad. Yeah, that looks like an interesting report.
But,
the other thing is,
that's
right?
Jarman.
Is that Jarman?
It's not, is it?
Really, it is too. Jarman's put on a bit.
Yeah, that's a famous picture. Yeah,
Jarman. Oh yeah.
That he was the most agile player in the. He had silky smooth skills. That guy, he was good.
You mentioned him before.
Fraser Brown. Well, Fraser Brown was from Lilydale, and really interesting. He was known as an 18-year-old. He came down to Carlton, and he was hard at it, really hard at it, and lived life pretty hard. I heard he stole a crane, that digs up the roads. He was blind drunk, like some of the under-19.
An excavator.
Yeah, he did do some crazy things on the piss, and he played hard footy, this guy. He was good. But Carlton's own was Lilydale, and he was from there. Good player. What about Geelong? You've got of course you'd have the Colac, I'm guessing.
No, that used to be Fitzroy's area, Colac.
Was it?
Yeah, that was Leon Harris, all those guys. That was our recruitment zone right through the. So where Carlton and Hawthorn had theirs, ours was Colac. So Geelong had the Geelong area. It's kind of weird, isn't it? But we would have Camperdown, Paul Broderick, all of those guys came out of there.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, Colac was a feeding ground for Fitzroy.
Yeah. So you got Colac, and like we got Subiaco, Fremantle, we got all of that, and you got Colac. It doesn't seem fair. We got Hunter Bazusto, Fitzpatrick, and you got Broderick.
Broderick. Colac. I've got quite a few mates from Colac, and they'll tell you it's the sporting capital of per capita. Kind of one of those New Zealand things. Per capita, we win more gold medals than anyone. You might win two, but because of your population. But yeah, Colac people are very proud of their sports people.
I stayed in a caravan down in Colac once, and beautiful place.
I went to the Colac races a couple of years ago.
Oh yeah.
Do you know what my tactic was? I did. I picked the first three. I went to the bookie area, and I just listened to the locals talk about all of the good news, who they were betting on. So I listened. First race, a couple of people talked about a certain horse, and won that, and then did the same thing. So yeah, the first three races, I went bang, 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 and people were starting to follow my tips, thinking this guy's onto something. All I was doing was just listening to people talk, because it was much smaller than what you would have at Flemington, so you could actually hear people talking about local form.
Yeah, well,
it was a good day. And then at the end of the races, two blokes did the naked dash down the straight.
The dash.
Don't you love the country outings are always going to have a naked run somewhere. Somebody's going to get the get out there.
Born free.
Yeah. So we're looking at so as far as the word going around, what's his name? Callum Toomey. He's the AFL writer, and he believes that it's between Rayner, Andrew Bradshaw, and there might be a Luke Davies. Is it
Uniacke?
Uniacke, is that it?
Yeah, Uniacke.
So that's the so these three blokes could be, and there's another one, Doe, who could end up at Carlton. I hear Carlton's got number 3 and number 10.
Doe Adair.
Dow, and those three. And there's another interesting one, Jaden Stephenson, who's had a heart condition, who would have probably gone higher, but he's got the okay. But we were talking about heart conditions and about, how a guy had one of your mates got a hip and shoulder up in Sydney, a bloke who used to work with Ross. That was...
Angelo Lacus. It wasn't in Sydney, it was in Perth. Yeah, he got a concussion. And was in the... So he was fine afterwards, a bit groggy, and slept in the hotel room or wherever, and went into a deep sleep, and basically could hear, whilst he was asleep, the ringing of the phone in the background, just kind of distant, and it was enough to wake him up. But that, and so he was, and when he spoke to the trainer or whoever it was that was checking up on him, he was like, he spoke with a real drawl in his speech, and the trainer said, basically, let's get you to hospital straight away, which potentially saved his life. So that it looked like he was kind of slipping into a coma or whatever people do after those head knocks. I remember if I ever bumped my head as a kid, Mum wouldn't let me sleep all night. I'd actually have to stay awake because there was this fear that you would slip into a coma. So it was one of those scenarios like that. Yeah, it was a stroke.
Wow. So that's right. You mentioned that he
came back and he played some. I'm not sure how many games he played. Some games with Hawthorn after that, but I think that effectively curtailed his career.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, right? If you're going to go out, so if you're going to put 18-year-olds like Carlton played, we played Samo this year, an 18-year-old, and we were putting him on the ball. He was getting runs on the ball. McKay, we've got a few high draft picks for Carlton this year. McKay didn't get much of a run, but we had the nucleus of our team was made mainly with these new draft guys, Silvani, all these guys are like 1 or 2 years in them only, and they're getting quite a good run at Carlton. So, yeah, that's the reason why, and also Barrack McCarlton. I love talking Carlton, but yeah, that's an interesting one. I hear if they're going to get an 18-year-old, do you want that player? Here's one out for the two of you. Do you want that player to be a regular player as an 18-year-old in your team, or do you want him to be a Jack Watts and wait till he matures?
What kind of
regular player?
Small or big?
Oh, look, I guess it's the smaller players are going to go straight away. So the bigger players, you got to be patient, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
a little one, I'd throw a little one in there. But
yeah, right.
But a tall, I'd probably not play him year one because he'll just get smashed. He'll get snapped in half. Usually they twig.
Yeah,
Jack Watts looked like a baby giraffe that first game. You remember when the 4 Collingwood players bumped him around? It was on, I think it was Queen's birthday weekend in 2009.
I think I remember that. Yeah, poor fella.
He got
deep end.
He got baby giraffe.
Queen's birthday. Got baby giraffe with nights for 70,000 people there.
Yeah, that's a good point. Silvani got protected. Do you remember, like, when Silvani was out there? Because there was a few players on his first, couple of games, and I think wasn't there an agreement? Isn't there an agreement amongst players? We're talking about Mark Murphy earlier about how things are done and you shouldn't do. Is there an agreement that if it's a bloke's first game, he's got to get an elbow? Look, sorry, mate, it's your first game. I'm going to have to give you an elbow. Is there?
No, I think that was more getting weed on in the shower after the game. That's the old school christening.
So this is what it used to be like. I don't know if you guys can see that.
Oh,
you can see that. So South Melbourne had the Wagga zone.
Yeah.
Wagga, talented country town.
Geez, Wagga's a big area, isn't it? That looks like the biggest area,
My dad just sold his property there.
Is there
He's had it for decades. He just sold it a couple of months ago.
So Footscray got Sale. Yeah, I wonder who they got out of Sale. I wonder if there was any good sales down there. They probably did.
What's going on here? Is this just there's no footballers come out of this bit. No one wants.
That was John Elliott's auxiliary fund paying for that area. It's wiped off the map, but he just augmented the salary cap, didn't he?
Yes. Yeah, so North Melbourne gets.
And it kind of looks like the shape of his nose as well.
It does. I was just about to say. I thought that's where you're going. It looks like his profile. Yeah, look, because good old Footscray just gets a little bit shafted with this weird knobby thing.
Yeah, they could have done better, and I'm sure the western suburbs. They got Dougie Hawkins, of course, who was and they got Brian Royal. And Purser. They did pick up a few WA players. Dougie's a local boy, of course. But do you remember Purser was the ruckman? Okay, you don't remember him. And Simon Beasley as well. He was another. We had
a Chuka.
Yeah, but they're
Geelong.
Riverina.
His old Geelong got shafted a little bit. It's quite a small one there. Might be some good players coming out of Echuca, but interesting. I suppose
the Ovens Murray League was a really strong league, though, so that would have encompassed Echuca. Good talent along there. Yeah.
We had some Ovens and Murray players up here, and coaches have come up. Actually, coach of Fev, I think I told you about him. Pigeons, that's in the Ovens and Murray, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
Yarrawonga. Yeah.
Who's number 8 here? Richmond made it all right. Strange zones. It's a bit like gerrymandering.
Yeah, there's no real rhyme or reason, is there?
Yeah, who come up with this?
Yeah, I wonder, if you're. Do you know there was a guy I know who was a good footballer, and he was from Carlton, and he knew that Carlton were not going to pick him up, so he used his friend's address. When they said, "Where do you live?" he wrote his friend's address down in Collingwood and went and trained with Collingwood because he thought he had more chance. So I wonder how much like, dodgy, I live at my grandma's house, do you know what I mean, in this place, so I can go to a certain footy club. I wonder how much of that went on back in the day,
Yeah. It's invaluable when you've got parents or grandparents who live out in the bush. You can get your license in different states potentially. Or I've got a mate who was from Colac. He used to put his address as Colac so he could get the regional AFL footy membership, which was a lot cheaper than getting it for Metro. So you'd pay several $100s less.
Oh, you're kidding?
Yeah.
That is a good little rort, that one. And that's a good little rort. Get on that, yeah. I'll have to hook up with someone from Colac,
No, don't underestimate Colac, mate. They're a proud township.
Yeah, I'm all good with Colac. I did a swimming course down there. Got my lifesavers, renewed. Had to renew.
Hey, do you know why the draft's on today?
Why?
Why it's on late November?
Thanksgiving.
No. Think commercial. Think AFL wanting to ensure that they are front and centre during every other sport's big.
The semi-final tonight.
No, they couldn't give
Cricket.
two fucks about that. Yep. First test, they wanted to ensure that cricket did not have the monopoly on marketing and advertisement with the first test. So they planted this baby today.
Mate, that is gold. That is really gold. Yeah.
And also NRL, even if they didn't give two shits, semi-final, not the final.
Yeah, no, it's true. I mean, I'm sure that they would, but like in Melbourne, there's been you would not know that the rugby world. I've been enjoying the league. Yeah. You wouldn't even know it's on. It's actually, there are games happening in Melbourne Rectangular Stadium, which is actually
Rectangular Stadium.
But no one knows it's on. It's not on TV. There's no advertising anywhere.
Amy has left the building.
But it's like the Rugby League Cup, the Clayton's Rugby World Cup, the one you have when you're not having a World Cup. But there's no advertising.
That is just because Melbourne is such a sporting town. And what threat is fucking rugby league, honestly? Like, do you know what I mean? Like that kind of, why do it?
Yeah, rugby will never take, like soccer, obviously, basketball. Rugby's not going to ever challenge.
What is the close? Yeah. And Storm just won the final. Like, why be that bigoted?
Well, I got to tell you this, it's getting bigger, and we've got all those teams like the international game, and soon these zones will include, well, I think that Port Adelaide will take China. They've kind of got a monopoly on China because they've got the games going on next year. St Kilda had New Zealand.
They did.
But interestingly, they asked for a permit because they got a 3-year permit, and they asked to get an extension, and it got refused. New Zealand didn't want to play any games.
Oh, it was rejected from them.
It got rejected. They didn't want to have Aussie rules in New Zealand.
There must have been.
They don't want to risk it at all. We're almost like a virus or a locust, a plague. Don't let Aussie rules in there.
Again, like Aussie rules has no threat whatsoever to rugby union in that country. Like, it's a religion. Yeah, it is as much as AFL as footy is to Victorians. rugby.
Yeah, the All
Yeah,
Blacks.
I had a Kiwi friend over today watching the cricket, and he said, "You're quite passionate." And I said, "We just expect Australia to win in the summer and do well. Like a 5-0 win is what you expect in cricket. It's kind of it's the only true
5-0.
national game we have where everyone
5-0.
supports."
Do you expect
Yeah.
5-0
Yeah, I do.
game?
Yeah, absolutely. And all the guys at the cricket club do. And he said that's exactly the same as it is for the All Blacks. We could win 30 games in a row, you lose one, and the old adage about domestic violence rising in New Zealand off the back of a lot. So they simply expect the All Blacks to win every time they step on the field. And the whole aura and mystique, the talisman-like way it's represented in their culture.
I remember the 82,
right.
the 82 Ashes series when
82?
when Alan 82
Is
Ashes
that the centenary?
Series. No, that was 77
Okay.
or 78. So 82, Alan Border and Jeff Thompson were in at the bat, and we had like 30 runs to win.
Oh yes,
and they were just trimming it away at it, and then both of them got them out. With one of them out, I think got Jeff Thompson out for
caught and slip. He dropped it in slip, and the other guy was it Derek Underwood or someone caught it off the bobbled dropped catch.
Yeah, and to this day, I still feel like we should have won that. We still won the series, but it still hurt that we lost in Melbourne.
Yeah, you do not lose the Boxing Day test. And we've lost a couple over the last decade. We lost one to South Africa and one to the Poms 2 Ashes series ago. I went to both of those. It's depressing. You just have your Christmas, right? You tuck into you have your presents and Yuletide family fun. You get the occasional argument with family.
That's Graham Wood.
Yeah,
there, by the way.
There was Graham Wood. So you're all excited. Then you go, that's it, done, gone.
Still hurts me. That really hurts me.
Yeah, very painful. Look at Graham Wood.
Graham Wood was very disappointed there. Yeah.
So it's quite depressing losing a Boxing Day test. It ruins my Christmas.
Yes, it does.
Do you know, just by chance, just as a matter of interest, that when that was on, I saw my mum smile, and me and my brother, told her we're Aussies now. We don't do that. It got because it was personal. Do you know what I mean? Like, there was like we told everybody.
Derek Randall? Or who took the catch?
Oh, look at the bonker! Look at him. He could have lost the test with that, and just
God,
Jesus.
My last game 2 weeks ago, gents, I took one of those. The keeper fumbled it, and I dived with one leg and took the catch. And I gave it an extra half roll to add a little mustard to it.
That's beautiful, man.
Dennis Thirds is a bit different to the Ashes, though, of course, but I still celebrated heartily.
Is that in the Jaika League, or which league is it?
It is. No, it's Metro now. It's Northern Metro.
Northern Metro. That sounds better because Jaika sounds like,
the prison.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think the Jaika still exists. The Jaika. I played a lot of. There was always alternating between Northern Metro and sort of Jaika, YMC or Northern Metropolitan Cricket Association. I think those places amalgamated. The team we played against, Walshy Preston Druids, had a few blokes that looked like they just spent time in Jaika division. Yeah, some jailhouse tats and smoking darts.
My old next
on the edge of the boundary.
Yeah, my old next door neighbour, his brother was in Jaika for. He was in for murder, and he didn't actually do it. And he said he didn't do it. But I think everyone has that excuse. They didn't do it. I think that's a trend. And anyway, he died in jail. Like there was a fire in the Jaika, Jaika prison, and he died in the prison. And so he died without getting freedom. And his brother still believes to this day that he actually didn't do the crime and did the time. And
did the time?
Yeah, that's real tragedy, isn't it?
That is, yeah. But the going back to the draft, fellas, would you be happy with Rayner coming in at number 1? I'm pretty happy with Go.
Yeah. I think Brayshaw could be the bolter. I think it's no longer pure talent. I mean, do you take the guy that is pure talent, or do you think I've got a well-rounded person who I don't know. It's all. I'm actually not excited about having the number one pick because you feel like there's so much. You're going to pick this person. If they don't do well, you'll be forever remembered for picking.
A plonker.
Who's it? Yeah, a plonker.
I would take. Probably Rayner. Just he's a bit taller. That 187 is an awkward height for a midfielder.
Look. Apparently, he does some amazing things on the field.
I'd take him.
He's had injuries and he's been out of the game for quite some time.
Is he?
Yeah, he did a really slow run. He came back because he missed the draft combine, and he had to do a run with all of the players that missed it. And he was the slowest sort of a run around Eddie had during the last couple of weeks. But he's come back from an injury, and
look, he's got a bubbly.
They were surprised by how slow.
Yeah, I got to tell you, if that personality wasn't like, well, I'll tell you, when we picked up Wiedering a couple of years ago. He had his 20th birthday yesterday.
23.
23. And do you know what he said?
Looks skillful.
Tall. Yeah, he's good. He was our number one draft pick.
Is he bubbly as well? Sorry, mate, go on.
He doesn't. I mean, he does have.
What if they said he had a really aggressive? No. Frankly, he was personality.
He's a real prick.
Let me get to the point, right?
Yeah, what were you saying about Wiedering?
He's got a really fractious personality.
Did I just see the Sam Newman hand point come out of the Walshy then? Yeah,
I know.
Sam Newman hand point.
I got to get this point away. I've been heckled. From Wiedering. Okay, so anyway.
You've got one more Carlton plug, Tony, and then we're icing them.
All right, no more Carlton plug. Well, Wieders, okay, he said that he doesn't drink, he doesn't smoke, and he doesn't party. And Collingwood have got the party animal,
the party bus.
Yeah,
the party bus. The perennial party bus.
He said, he's not going to be doing any of that stuff. You can take your Dane Swan kind of attitude. That's not going to be him. So he didn't come with a bubbly personality. He came with I'm more like a good family guy. I'm 18 years old. My dad is a strong, influence on me. My mum's a strong influence. And his mum and dad were sort of next to him, and they look like school teachers. And he looks like there's no.
Yeah, he does look sort of Pennsylvanian Dutch, like sort of weird Huguenot sort of religion. There's something about him, the Wiedering. Is that Bavarian? I don't know. Is it Lutheran? Something like that.
We don't have time for your games. Like that sort of stuff. Yeah.
Do you expect me to talk? No, Mr. Wiedering. We expect you to die.
We want to fight your Rocky Balboa. We're not here. Like this.
Ivan Drago. Yeah. Pretty bad accents happening there.
But we picked up Wieders, and we're happy with Wieders.
I reckon we call him Wheaties right now. He hasn't proven himself, so he's Wheaties until.
He's Wheaties.
Have a look at that one with the flannelette shirt right there. That is a bad selfie. Yeah, that's a bad one. Oh, look at that. That's a little bit of Transylvanian Express there. What the hell is that look?
Possibly would have been in Tasmania when Bolts takes the young guns down to Tasmania, his hometown, and takes them camping and swimming and little life bonding sessions.
No drinking.
Yeah, a real Jim Jones sort of weird sort of camp.
And he's like, you guys are our future. By the way, going down to Tasmania, if you'd done that, if the coach took the young boys down to Tasmania 20 years ago, that would have had a whole different thing going on.
A little bit of, especially in some of the regional areas. But I think I'd rather go and do the Kokoda track like all the new Hawthorn guys do, rather than doing.
Is that what they do?
Hobart, yeah,
smart fitness, duress.
Look at his mum and dad. Are they not the best? Look at them. Look at his mum and dad. I would have picked him just because he's got such a loving family there. Look at him.
Veteran.
Yep. Do you think when Dustin Martin on his profile had bubbly personality?
His dad was wasn't his dad the head of was it the Banditos or was it the Comancheros or whatever it was.
They didn't let him back in the country, I don't think, did they?
No, he's still not. Permitted back in. What about if you had a footballer who was slightly sociopathic, like as a youngster, they took the wings off flies and tried to hurt their family members? Would you put that in the profile? Was known to hurt family members.
I tell you what, if you know, do you know
propensity to urinate on windows, Fev?
Yeah.
Fev.
Look at that. He looks mean. Look at that. Look at that. Jake the Muss.
He does have a bit of. He does have a bit of a
little bit of too many weights, not enough speed work.
Yeah. It's hard, mate. Interesting, but they, like the Department of Foreign Affairs,
rebels
for DFAT for his for Dustin Martin's father to come in, which is I don't know. It's
Sergeant Arms.
Yeah.
He was.
I'm not a bikie. I'm not a bikie expert, but from what I've read, in order to become a sergeant at arms, right? The heinous act that you must perform to prove your loyalty is pretty brutal. So for him to have done that, he would have had to have delivered some form of violent act upon another human being.
The sergeant's the enforcer. So
yeah. So he's a bad dude. That's a Toby Mitchell type. Bad dude. Look there, Jake King loves it, doesn't he, Jakey boy?
Jake.
The push-up king.
Didn't Jake King and Ty Hickory have an alteration?
Or Vickery.
What did I call him? I called him Ty Vickery.
You brought it into fruition.
It's Ty Vickery.
Yeah, you said Hickory like the branch of a tree or whatever. But no, either way.
Didn't he like hold him at ransom or something?
Yeah, he threatened to break the guy's legs or something. So a business partner of Ty Vickery, now I've got that mixed up, didn't pay up. So yeah, Jake the Push-Up King's told him he'll break his legs if he doesn't pay up.
He's a toe cutter.
And they've got him on toe cutter.
He's toe cutter.
He's a toe cutter.
Chopper Reed.
King toe cutter.
Yeah. There's no reason to put two fingers up. Just one's enough. We got the idea.
Collingwood.
2 fingers. Yeah.
Collingwood.
Mark Murphy did that as well. Talking about the number 1 draft pick. Look, somebody's giving him 2 back. Look, the lady with the dyed red hair.
And she is a lady. Oh, it's terrible.
Cheer squads, mate. They are. I'm a member of the Brisbane Cheer Squad, and they're quite a tame cheer squad. But my time sitting next to opposition cheer squads over the years, and they're.
Well, as a cheer squad member, mate, have you got a cheer? Have you got a cheer for us? Like.
Give me an F? No, that's Fitzroy. God help no. I used to know all of the old ones. They were quite explicit. Some of the old ones. There's I think from the age of about 10 or 11 to 16 or so, I was in the cheer squad until it's uncool to be in a cheer squad when you're 17. Actually, I think it was year 12 was my final year. I realised, fortunately, social Darwinism had kicked in, and I thought I shouldn't be here. But I think that was the moment in my life where it was a pivotal moment. If I had stayed in the cheer squad, I reckon I would have become one of those type of people. But I moved on. I left the cheer squad and started to not sleep with a mouth guard at night, and I was able to eat dinner without like a face mask, with stabbing my face with a fork and things like that.
Well, I got to tell you, I used to love the songs. I used to love the songs, you know.
What's the colour of a 2-cent coin?
What's the colour?
Copper. There you go.
And who's that man with the big red nose?
Santa.
Who's that man with the big red nose?
No.
They used to say it when towards the umpire. There was a few of them. I can't remember. Yeah.
But we had the Blues from the Blue Triangle. Every time we meet, we mangle, rah, rah, stick them in the jar. Carlton are the best by far. Oof. That was up there with Wolf. Wolf.
Oof. Yeah.
Oh, that's a great picture, that one there, where
Yeah, that's Mickey O'Loughlin. That
He
guy.
taunted.
He's still,
Look,
mate,
look,
still.
He's still stunned
He's
there.
still gone.
Yeah.
Mullet.
He gets angry once Mickey's turned his back and is back on the playing field. That's when he renews his venom.
Well, I got to tell you, Dennis Lilly. I know Dennis Lilly's from WA, but
Yes.
I didn't realise that. He's got like a doll. That's iconic, isn't it? That's just Sydney against West Coast. They were good games back in 2005, 2006.
Yeah, every game within sort of 10 points or something.
Terrific. And
Judd.
the cheer squads.
Judd.
And the cheer squads were fully behind it.
Is that what it was like in the cheer squad, Fitzroy cheer squad there, Roscoe?
Well, we had the blue.
No, I would have. At the age of 17, I would have chosen to stay in the cheer squad if that had been there.
We had the blue.
I think we had the older ladies knitting croquet during some of the games. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, I like the wig the kids got on in the background there. He's there with Grandma. Look, he's there at the footy with Grandma with a wig on.
The wig.
Yeah. And that's passionate, mate. I got to tell you, there's no one more passionate than a Footscray supporter. I got to tell you, they really love their team. Like when it comes to supporters, those Bulldogs, they are through and through. We woof, woof, woof. They are absolutely
very passionate, aren't they?
Mate, I went to a game down at the Western Oval, and I remember when Carlton scored the lowest score in 100 years. They were absolutely letting every single. We just sat there and just watched Mark Arcieri wait till the last quarter before he kicked his first goal for the team. He scored 9 points for most of the game, and just sitting there watching those supporters. Wow!
It was a tough ground, Western Oval, to be at. It wasn't. You had to stand. It's cold.
It was the Doug Hawkins wing.
Doug Hawkins wing. That was actually Fitzroy's home ground for a while, so I spent a lot of time at Western Oval in our final few years. We were there. Yeah.
Yarraville. Okay, this is a Yarraville woman, which is Yarraville's in the Footscray District League.
Well, I reckon Marie McKellen would be. If I were her, I'd be saying, you know what, Yarraville used to be a terrible, violent, dirty suburb, but now it's upper class. Well, not it's gentrified, and that little pad you're in is worth probably $1 million.
Yeah,
that's Marie.
That's the story there.
You're a good little saver,
mate. She's
keep going.
Yeah, Footscray. I actually like Footscray. I like the area a lot. I just like the character that the place has. If you go to a pub in Footscray, the Powell, for example, you can get yourself a good steak and chips and have a